Hello, and welcome to another Monday's live stream. And very exciting Monday today. I've got lovely Alex Platt who's joining us today, and she's going to be telling us about the new iOS update that is affecting Facebook ads. So again, if you are watching this live, if you're watching this live on YouTube, or if you're watching this live in my Facebook ads group, then on my Facebook support group, even I don't have a Facebook ads group, that's Alex's bag, then please do leave your name, give us a shout, say hello, and if you've got any questions, please do ask them in the chat as we go along, and we'll answer any questions that we have. If you're watching this on catch up, again, please do ask any questions, but Alex is basically going to tell us what's happening, what impact it's going to have on Facebook, and what we need to do to sort our ads platform out, because they are quite major changes. So again, if you enjoy this, please do give us a thumbs up, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel, where I live stream every week at 12:30 on a different social media topic, offering you lots of tips and advice. So without further ado, I would like to hand you over to the lovely Alex, who's going to just give us a little of an intro about who she is and what on earth has been going on this month with Facebook ads.
Okay, thank you, Bex. Hi, everybody. My name's Alex Platt, and I'm a Facebook and Instagram ad strategist. I've worked with Facebook ads for the last 4 years, but I have been supporting small business owners with all sorts of things and marketing for the last 6 years, nearly 7 years now, actually. So yes, I wanted to come on today to talk to you about the new Apple update, which is going to massively affect not just Facebook, but all apps, marketing, social media apps and things that we advertise on, and what you can do starting now to sort of mitigate the problems which it's going to cause. So just to give you a bit of background, in June of last year, Apple announced an upcoming change to their phone system, the iOS 14, the new phone operating system and iPad operating system. And what they have decided, or what they were going to do, was to develop something called app tracking transparency, which is where they would prompt all users on whether they are willing to allow the app to track their personal usage. So what that means is that normally when you are inside an app, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, Amazon even, the app will be able to see what you're looking at, who you're communicating with. So for Facebook, which groups you're going in, which users you're talking to, and then they personalize your experience of the app in relation to that. And the same with Amazon is a really good thing as well, because Amazon will show you products like products you've been searching for. So that's the way they personalize their app. So
and that's like if you've got, so if I'm on Facebook, for example, and my husband's on Facebook, and we have very similar friends on Facebook, my feed looks completely different to my husband's.
Yeah.
Because it's personalizing this experience, isn't it, based on what you're clicking on the app and outside of the app. Yeah, very clever the way it tracks it.
And if users, so what it's going to be is a pop-up message that asks whether you would like to continue with the app tracking your data. And they've termed it in a way which talks about tracking data, which I think is a bit tricky, because people are very worried about tracking of data at the moment.
Yeah. So will it give you a pop-up for every single app, every single sort of social media platform, or will it just say,
no, I think it's every single app that you're going to have. And it will either say allow data tracking or no, don't allow it. And so if people click no, and they're predicting possibly 60% of users are going to click no, then it means the app, so Facebook or Amazon or Instagram, are no longer going to be able to track your behavior as a user when you're in that app.
So you're going to be shown loads of random stuff that you're really not interested in.
Yes.
Because actually that data tracking is there to help you as a user, isn't it? To improve your user experience.
Yeah,
and show you things that you might actually be
you're interested in. Yeah, if you think about Facebook, what's great about scrolling your feed is that it will show you people that you like spending time looking at what they're doing. It's not going to do that as much now if you're Apple. So this is not, as I said, it's not just going to affect Facebook, it's going to affect TikTok, Pinterest, Amazon, Instagram, Snapchat, any of these apps that personalize the experience. So what it means for Facebook ads in particular is that at the moment we can see whether people are taking action on our ads and can retarget those people based on their actions, and it's going to stop us from doing that.
Yeah, so basically now if you're running ads, you can track someone, can't you? If someone clicks on your ad on Facebook, then it clicks through to the website, and then if you might add that product to cart, but then abandon your cart, through Facebook advertising, you can re-advertise to people who abandon the cart, can't you? Send them a Facebook ad saying, oh, by the way,
you've forgotten about this.
You've forgotten about this, or have you thought about this? There's 10% off. You also get this. These are the added benefits of buying this product. And take them back to their shopping cart. And likewise, if they actually then buy that product, it actually stops advertising to that person, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is very, very clever. But if you're on an iPhone, if you own an iPhone and you click no data tracking, then the adverts won't be able to do that, will they? Just for iPhone users, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that Apple have confirmed is that they will send one event. So an event is your view content, add to cart or purchase, that sort of thing. Normally they send everything back so you can see the whole customer journey, but they have agreed that they will send one of these events back. So you will still be able to track very minimal amount of data, just not the whole thing.
Okay.
Because currently when Facebook opens a web page, they actually do it within their app. You don't ever leave Facebook. You do it in the in-app browser. Right. However, if they went onto Safari and visited your website, we'd still track everything because we've got the pixel on there.
Yeah, yeah. Which is quite interesting because you don't realise, do you? If you click on a Facebook ad, you assume you've been taken off Facebook and into somebody else's website, don't you? Whereas, and a lot of people won't know. And for those that do run adverts, and again, this is for Facebook advertising, using the Facebook advertising platform. This is not something you do through boosting an ad, because boosting an ad is completely different. You can't do this sort of tracking. But normally you can track and you can follow people that click on your ad right through to which web page they go to, whether they add stuff to cart, whether they then check out, whether they then go to a thank you page. But now what you're saying, Alex, is that actually you can only decide on one event. So it might be, because I think the most important thing that I find, if you're running a large advertising campaign on Facebook, you want to advertise to a lot of people, and it's a continuous advertising campaign you might be doing throughout the year. You don't want to continue to advertise to people who've then gone on and bought the product. Mm-hmm. So really the one main event you'd want to track, wouldn't it? It would be people who then bought the product so that you could discount them from the ads. So you're not wasting money on advertising to people who've already bought the product. But then you can't give prompts to people who have then maybe added it to the cart and abandoned the purchase.
Yes. So that's one major impact, obviously, is that we're not going to be able to retarget users who are interacting with our ads. The other impact is that our performance reporting is going to be massively affected as well, because we might not be able, we're not going to be able to see who's visiting the landing page from the ad so well, and we're not going to be able to see who's interacting with the ads because it's not going to send that information back.
Just so for people on iPhone.
For iPhone users, obviously. Yeah. So the other thing that Facebook done is they have changed the attribution of ad data. This is getting a bit technical. But in the past, in the past, you used to be able to track up to 28 days, which was really useful, which meant that you could track a whole customer journey on Facebook ads from lead magnet to purchase, for instance, over the 28 days. But now they've changed it so it's only 7 days. So you will only be able to see the data from 7 days of ads. So if you've got a campaign that's ongoing, it means you're not going to be able to see those results on an ongoing basis. Which
but
again,
could you export those results though every 7? So basically, you'd have to be quite good at every 7 days going, quick, export our data before it disappears.
Yeah, I think so. So I think this is something else we're learning. Everything's sort of coming into fruition at the moment. We're sort of learning more and more. And again, like we were talking about, it means that our targeting is also going to be affected, because we're not going to see which audiences are responding as well as we can now, because the data isn't going to be as obvious. But another thing that people have only just realised is that this is going to massively affect Facebook, as we were saying, organically. So at the moment, our business page relies on people interacting with it, and then Facebook will show more of our posts to those people who are engaging with our business page. However, we're not going to have that if people are on iPhones or iPads, because their news feed will not be showing them personalized information.
Right. Okay. So basically, we want to be able to engage. Obviously, through the organic reach, you're trying to get engagement, people liking and engaging. But if you're on iPhone and they've clicked, no, I don't want you to track my data, they might click and regularly engage on a business page and quite often see that content coming up. I know my husband's a massive follower. He mainly uses Facebook to follow business pages and keep up to date with news and information, rather than follow friends and family, which is what I mainly use it for. So all of a sudden, my husband can potentially lose all that really nice niche business pages that he's following and content that he's interested in.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be showing random things.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that. So the rumours are that from 2022 onwards is when the impact's going to be felt with Facebook in general and other apps, right? With fewer signals being reported over that time. So we don't really know the extent of how this is all going to roll out at this moment. It's because it was announced in June last year. It started being rolled out sort of November, December of last year. Now we're seeing some of the impact a little bit within the Facebook Ads Manager. But I think towards the end of this year, as more and more users adopt this new system, and any new iPhones or iPads that come out are going to have an even newer system as well. So then we're going to start seeing the impact over other apps, all of our apps, as we lose more data. But there are some things we can do.
I suppose it'll change as well, won't it? Because they'll be constantly updating it and changing it as well. So the things we might see now or don't see now, we might then see later on down the line.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook is very clever, as we've seen over the years. They innovate constantly. I've seen a few different changes going on in Instagram already. So I wouldn't be surprised if they change it again in terms of the feeds, or maybe give us a business page feed again. I don't know. They're going to have to do something, aren't they, to try and mitigate this?
Yeah. So what do we need then? What do we need to do? I know we've talked before, haven't we, Alex? And there's a few things that if you are advertising on Facebook, there's a few things that you absolutely need to do, isn't there? Yeah.
So even if you want to advertise on Facebook, and this includes boosting posts. So even if you want to boost posts to people, you have to have the next couple of things set up. So in the past, you used to be able to run ads on your personal ads manager, and there was an option to set up a business manager where you control your page and your pixel and all of those sorts of things within one place. Not everybody used to do this, but now you need to have verified your website domain within Facebook. And the only way to do that is if you have a business manager. So if you're serious about doing any sort of advertising, now or in the future, you need to set up a business manager, and then you need to verify your domain, which is very easy. It's exactly the same as a pixel, really. You just put a bit of code onto your website, which means that Facebook can see it's your website.
Okay.
So it's quite simple, but it does include
the old Facebook verification that kind of disappeared a couple of years ago. That was simply, you needed to make sure that on your website you had the right same email address and web page on your Facebook. But obviously now they're asking for it to be a bit more sophisticated and add a little bit of code in there.
Yeah. And that also includes any third-party domains that you use, like lead pages or Thrivecart, or anything that your website clicks through to, you know, like a payment manager or something. So you have to, often if you research them, they will have a support page telling you how to do that now.
So what if you're running ads and you might sell on Etsy or Amazon or anything like that? Can you put this code onto your Etsy page or your Amazon pages? Or
you can't actually run ads to Amazon. Not allowed to run Facebook ads to Amazon. I don't think you can run Facebook ads to Etsy either, actually. I don't think that's allowed. They have their own ads manager, don't they? But yeah, I would have a look. I'm just having a Google now, but I would have a look into those platforms, because it affects all of them. I would imagine that everybody is doing something at the moment to mitigate.
Yeah, because there are some quite niche third-party sellers, such as I've got a client that sells sort of Dungeons and Dragons tiles, and they have drive-through RPG. So they've run ads in the past. They don't own the site, but they've run ads to these third-party retailers. But you know, they don't have control of that.
Of the domain, yeah. So the next thing that I'll say is, this is why that would affect that. So the next thing that you have to do is we were talking before about the website conversion events. So your purchases, your add to cart, view content. And now you have to set the priority of 8 of those. So once you've verified your domain, you then have to go into the events manager part of Ads Manager, and it asks you to set up the priority of those events. So as we were saying before, if you were a product-based business, your top priority event that you would want to report would be purchase. So you'd have that at the top, and then you would basically set it so it was like a journey that the customer takes, so that when Apple does report its one conversion event, you want to make sure you're getting the one that really matters.
Right.
So, and that's the problem with the third-party domains that you don't own, is that you can't set the priority of those events. But I would imagine they would set it the same, so that purchase is at the top.
I suppose it's going to vary, isn't it, for all different sites on how they set it up.
Yeah. There is a way to go around that, but that's getting into a bit too much technical. I don't want to get into that now.
Facebook ads is complicated enough, isn't it? Without them throwing this at us.
So the next thing that I would say is to be prepared that your Facebook ad reporting isn't necessarily going to be as accurate as it was before. So you can put some things in place to capture those results off of the app. Things like duplicate landing pages, maybe. So if it's a lead magnet, you could have a separate landing page that only Facebook ads go through. And perhaps when people sign up there, it tags the subscriber in your email system so that you could see how many came from Facebook ads.
Right,
so
I see.
Your reporting changes a little bit.
So if you're selling a product, maybe it's a course or something like that, and you have a landing page on your website, you'd create a duplicate landing page, but only share that web URL with your Facebook ads.
Yeah, and have a way of tagging purchasers, maybe. Something. The other thing you can have is called an offline data set, which is just really a spreadsheet where you capture data. So if you've got face-to-face customers, or you sell through a sales team, you capture the results of those sales, and you can upload that to Facebook ads, and it will match up with your ads and tell you who converted, using the data to match it up. And then really, I think it's a lot of advice is that we go back to sort of our old school marketing that we've forgotten about. So now's probably the time, if you're going to use Facebook ads, to try and build your email list off of social media and off of these apps, so that you can use email marketing to nurture your audience, and you're in control of that audience rather than these social media apps. Update the SEO on your website so you feature more in organic searches as well, and look into local PR and other printed media PR. So try not to have all your eggs in one basket, I suppose, so that when things go wrong, you don't lose your whole audience.
And I think that's really important with any marketing strategy, isn't it? You should never just rely on one source. But even though we can't see the data, it doesn't necessarily mean that your ads are any less effective. It's just that you don't get the data, do you? That's all.
No.
And I think, the big difference will be if you were collating data from last year and you're running sort of evergreen ads, the same ads over and over again because they've worked really well, then they're still going to get you potentially the same results. It's just that your data is going to look different. So it may look that you've had a massively reduced reach or whatever on your ads, but in actual fact, as long as your sales are the same, that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So something I was reading today, they were talking about estimated return on ad spend rather than looking at the actual results in your ads manager. You look at your total revenue for the month divided by how much ad spend you've made, and look at that as an estimated return. So like you were saying, if you were a big brand running ads all the time and you stopped running those ads, your revenue would probably go down drastically because they're all another touch point in your marketing, aren't they? It's not necessarily you're not getting all your conversions from those ads, but you're getting customers and you're keeping in front of them, and then they're going perhaps through an email. The conversions will come through different places.
And I suppose you could also still run ads to desktop computers, to Android users.
Yeah, you could split it out a little bit.
Yeah, run ads just to those platforms, see what works, and then roll it out to your iOS users.
Yeah, and you'd imagine it would be fairly similar.
Yeah. So have you got any more tips before you finish? Or if anyone's got any questions who's watching, please do post them in the chat.
I don't have any more tips. I suppose I didn't want to get too technical into it because it can all be a bit bamboozling. But I suppose if anybody is considering running ads this year or have been running ads themselves and need all of this updating, then I'm always available for free consultation where you can book that via my website. And I also run a 1 hour power hour package, which is £97, and I'd be happy to set up anything needed. So if you needed your domain verification doing or any of the stuff I've talked about today, then I could do that for you in that time.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, I've just put your website up on the screen. So that was really interesting. And Alex is, brilliant at Facebook ads. She knows everything about it. Has got a huge amount of experience. So it's definitely worth having a chat with her if you are running ads at the moment or you're looking to run ads in the future as well. Because Facebook ads are still one of the cheapest ways to digitally advertise your products, aren't they? So, there's a bit of a hitch with regards to iOS users, but, it's still a great way to get your message out there. Well, thank you so much, Alex. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and thanks for updating. So I've certainly learned a lot about what's been going on because we get all sorts of different messages coming in about what's been happening with the iOS. So thank you for that. You're welcome. Now, next week, I'm going to be talking about Facebook hashtags. Okay, what are they? How do they work? And is it actually worth using them? So join me next week at 12:30, where I'll be running through how they work. Everyone knows you've got to use hashtags for Twitter and Instagram, but people often forget to put hashtags on their Facebook posts. And actually, it can be incredibly powerful for your Facebook organic reach as well, to reach people for free, which is always very handy. Okay, so join me next week. And again, if you've enjoyed this video, please do give us a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel where I'm live every Monday at 12:30. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.